Welcome to the Rumsey Map Islands. I want to share with you some of my excitement in opening this new virtual map world to the public, and to talk about how and why I've collaborated with Centric to build this place in Second Life. This journey started about 10 years ago in my map library in San Francisco, shown here, when I decided that I could give a second life to my old maps by digitizing them and making them available to people over the internet. My motivation above all was to give the maps away digitally again and again, and to share with people all the aspect of old maps that makes them so interesting and compelling, all the reasons that I collected them. To accomplish this, I've developed various tools and platforms over the past decade at my free online map library davidrumsey.com, including now this wonderful place in Second Life. The trajectory that I've followed begins with making the first digital images of my maps in the late 1990s, through the development of a digital image library, then using geographic information systems, or GIS, to unlock information in the historic maps, then putting those maps in Google Earth and Google Sky, and now opening this map island in Second Life. I'll show many examples of the unlocking of the rich information that exists in historical maps that can occur with these digital technologies through juxtaposition of images, image overlays, radical image reformatting, image mashups, and image compositing, just to name a few. As these views of my map library show, I collected a lot of historical maps, over 150,000 at last count in a period of about 25 years. These paper maps, globes, charts, and atlases are the sources for all the digital images in my online map library and here in Second Life. I was drawn to historical maps because they embody art, science, and history all in one artifact, and their visual history as well, and can tell us much about the times in which they were made. My collection covers roughly the period from 1700 to 1925. It includes maps of the entire world with a special focus on maps of North America. These two maps just shown, Delisle's map of North America 1700, and on top of it Bartholomew's map of the United States in 3 sheets 1922, shows the two ends of my collecting period. One of the themes I've explored with historical maps is the evolution of mapping technology over this time period and how it relates to our modern day GIS. My first use of digital technology with regard to the collection was creating a database to catalog all the maps. This laid the groundwork for creating a virtual library, though at this stage it did not include images. Then I began, shown here, to make digital images of the maps by scanning them at high resolution. I saw the potential to see things in the scanned maps that I could not see as easily in the original. For example, this map of Lewis and Clark's famous trek across North America, 1814, has a complete remapping of the Missouri River. When we zoom into the map, we can look at the grand detour, they called it, this big O circle by the Tetons of the burnt wood. Very distinctive feature. Later, 2 years later, exactly, 1816, John Mellish made the first map of the United States to go from coast to coast. And if you look in the upper left, you can see that he incorporated line for line and river for river pretty much all of the work of Lewis and Clark. When we zoom into the John Mellish map, we see the same great bend of the Missouri. He changes the names a little bit, but then we can put it side by side with the digital image from Lewis and Clark, and now we can really understand in great detail how one map evolved from another. So this got me very excited. With the advent of the internet in the mid-1990s, I realized that I could use this growing body of scanned digital images and data to share my collection. So I launched my online map library, shown here, davidrumsey.com, with 2,000 maps in 1999. The site is free for all users. It's a philanthropic activity for me. It changed everything about my work. Suddenly I had thousands of people a day using my online maps, and I was the proprietor of a virtual library. davidrumsey.com is the hub for my content building. We now have over 17,000 maps online, and for my experiments with software to view and understand that content. It's highly unlikely that you would ever see these digital maps in their paper forms. These are some examples. They're too rare, they're too far away, they're too fragile. But with high-resolution images delivered on the internet from my online map library, and now in Second Life, you can explore them at will and get to know them intimately. This is the simplest and first way that maps are reborn digitally and given a second life, by providing access to the information they hold. But in their digital reincarnation, these map images have even more potential. Their information can be unlocked through the use of various software tools and applications and policies, with a resulting amplification of that inherent meaning and allowing it to be used across many different kinds of disciplines. We can see many aspects of the transformation and reuse of historical maps by looking at the journey in my own online map collection of this map image of globe gores by Giovanni Cassini, made in Rome originally in 1790, and see how it can be transformed by digital technologies. The image was put on the Library of Congress Geography and Map Division website several years ago. Subsequently, I downloaded the images of the gores shown here. The Library of Congress, to its great credit, by the way, was one of the earliest sites to allow free downloading and reuse of its images. And I experimented with georeferencing the gores in GIS and using the UTM projection shown here, and then transforming the globes from UTM, here's 6 of them in UTM, and then another 6, and then combining all 12 into a geographic or unprojected form. Then, using ESRI's ArcGlobe software, I was able to wrap the gores into a virtual globe shown here and spin them around. I got very excited about this. I had taken paper globe gores that were meant to be wrapped on wooden or plaster globes and made a virtual globe with them. I was then able to combine it. I'm in GIS. I can add this layer of The World at Night by NASA and other layers. This seemed very promising to me, but I wanted to get it out into the public world. So along came Keyhole, the precursor of Google Earth, and I was able to put the image into Keyhole and share it with other Keyhole users. Then when Google Earth came along and bought Keyhole and made a public version of it, I was able to create a public layer in Google Earth and share the image with over 250 million Google Earth users worldwide. Finally, but not the end of the chain, here we've put the globes in Second Life, and my avatar, Map Darwin, can fly to see it, moving across Yosemite Valley from 1883, can look at the globe from the outside, but then, lo and behold, can actually fly through the surface and see a whole new version surrounding him on the inside. We created an entirely new digital object here by reversing the globe and wrapping it around a 100-meter space. We've also put an orrery on the inside. So this was very exciting to me. Ironically, all this prompted me to add these Cassini globe gores in paper form because I still love paper and collect paper. And I found both the terrestrial and the celestial shown here in London, and I put them in my own physical map collection. I also added the celestial globe now to Google Earth. Shown here in Google Earth, the celestial globe wraps the Google Earth terrestrial globe at 64 million meters outside the Earth. And then in January of this year, 2008, we added the celestial globe to the new Google Sky layer shown here, where it's combined with all kinds of different star layers, constellations, and so on. It actually rectified extraordinarily well. And here they are now in Second Life, with my avatar, Map Darwin, seated on the orrery device and looking at the globe, watching it from different angles, and so on. This journey of the life and changing use of a map image and its multiple effects shows how things have evolved in the last 10 years. Maps have become digital, including the old analog maps. They're widely shared, reused, and reformatted, and experienced in new ways hardly imagined by their creators.